You'll see this a lot in street fighting. Mostly like gang fighting. You'll see this. It really would be hard for me, no matter how big they are, if they're lifting their elbows up like this and they're fighting me like this. Their stance is very weak, number one. Number two, they're wide open. They're still dangerous, no matter what. Every fight you are in, it doesn't mean you're out of danger. Every fight is going to be dangerous. But your chances of winning when they're fighting like this is very successful. Because, okay, they've got their hands open, they're going to be fast, but they're going to try to punch you like this. This is very common. If you live in a bad part of town, you're going to see this a lot. In fact, last time I saw that, both guys were doing this. They were both moving their arms back and forth. They were really timid, but they never really engaged each other. The guy got back in the car and took off, which was kind of weird for me. But I'm not going to get into that whole story. That has no function for this video. But I want you to realize, keep those elbows down, keep your chin down. When you throw in punches, turn those fists so that your shoulder can block yourself. Same thing with the hook. Whenever you're throwing the hook, keep your head here. Okay, now let's talk about one more thing about the correctness of your head. What you don't want to do, and it's better if I do it at this angle, is when you're punching, you've got to pretend there's a pole through your head that goes through your head, through your body, and into the ground. So now you're only able to pivot through this or turn in this pole. I call it being locked in a cylinder. You're stuck in this tube and you can't move out of this tube. The only thing that can come out of this tube are your arms. That's it. So when I'm throwing across, I stay in my tube and I don't lean forward. That's no good because now I'm off balance. When I punch and I stay in my tube and I throw my cross, when I throw my uppercut, I'm in my tube. I stay right where I need to be. So I don't allow myself to go forward with my head. When I do, I'm not really letting the function of my pivot work for me. Also, by leading with my face is not good. And another thing is, when I lean over, I'm off balance. And a lot of people have the misconception about what off balance means. Off balance doesn't mean that you're hopping over like an idiot. Like you fell, you tripped, you're trying to keep your balance. That's off balance, yes. But off balance means that you're off position. You're not in a very good position to throw another strike that's effective and powerful. So in other words, if I throw here, if I want to throw a left hook, I can't do it from here, I'm weak. I would have to come back and then throw the left hook. Not good. I want to be able to throw the left hook effectively and fast by being here and here. From this angle, 1, 2, as opposed to 1 leaning forward and I want to throw the left hook. If I stay in this position, I can't do it very good. I'm not going to be very powerful. I have to come back, get in balance, and then throw the left hook. Not good. So remember, when you're throwing jabs, you're moving forward to get to your opponent. And when you make your mark, when you actually hit your opponent, you turn your body, you stay in your tube, and you fire. You're folding your body in half and hitting your opponent. And that's where pivoting comes in. That's where pivots happen for you. So you saw the upper body and my proposal of why you need to throw these punches the way I throw them and the way the punches that a boxer, kickboxer, or whatever, any kind of fighter that actually fights. This is why they do their thing. So what does this have to do with the video that I saw on YouTube? It's the pivots. And we're going to go right into the footwork right now. Okay, now to the whole big thing about why I'm pivoting. We saw for the upper part of my body why I do the things that I do with my hands and why it works for me and why I do things and why I don't do things about balance. So let's talk about pivoting. Now here's where it all came from when I saw this video. He told the student to pivot and hold and stay. So the student did that. Then he grabbed his gi and pulled, gave him a little tug. Give him a little tiny tug again. Third time was a charm. He pulled him. Whoa, the student lost balance. And then the entire camp at the seminar kind of laughed, and you could hear them like if they had solved some big mystery about fighting. And that, of course, that the instructor was correct, that this was wrong. You shouldn't do this. But gotta remember, when I'm out there fighting, I'm never going to be in the same place at the same time and stay there for a fraction of a second. In other words, when I'm punching somebody and I'm in my stance and I punch, I'm not going to stay there for you to push me over, for you to pull on me, tug on me so I'll lose balance and look like an idiot. No, that's not me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pivot and come back right away. That's what's going to happen. You're never going to get a chance to pull me off balance. It's not going to happen. The only time that's going to happen is if I lead with my head. If I lead with my head, yes, you have a chance. Now you can grab onto me and pull me and I'm going to lose my balance. But if I stay in my cylinder and I pivot correctly, I'm going to come right back. And not only that, I'm going to be able to move. So that right there, it baffled me. That's why I had to make this video, to show that this is perfect. You should pivot. Pivoting is not just for the boxers or the kickboxers where you throw a jab, cross, and hook. You pivot when you do a cross block. If you don't, you're cross blocking like this. Bam. And now you're only turning your hips a little bit. I feel stress in my knee. Man, I'm pretty young and I'm still feeling stress in my knee. Come on now. There's something wrong. I need to loosen up my hips. I need to be able to be functional. I have to be able to be mobile. So pivoting my foot is turning my shoulder to allow me to get more power, keep my hand up, of course, and then I can step in and backhand. That to me is San Soo through and through. However, I should have the ability to pivot and throw a straight punch like this. I am not going to always have the ability to step forward and throw an extension punch. When you throw an extension punch, that is correct. You shouldn't pivot on an extension punch. It makes no sense to go here and pivot. It also doesn't make sense to me to let your heel come off the ground when you're throwing an extension punch. So don't punch and let your heel come off the ground. When you see someone doing this, I'm not saying they're wrong, but in my perspective, it is wrong. That's all it is a perspective in my frame of mind, and I don't believe that you should let that happen. When your heel comes off the mat, it's a disaster. You're asking to be taken off balance. You might go against a good wrestler, sees a punch coming, they're going to arm drag you, and you're going to end up on your butt, and that's not a good place to go when you're fighting a wrestler. So whenever I throw an extension punch, remember I talked about staying in your cylinder. The same thing applies for my standards of striking. I keep myself centered. I extend my shoulders. My shoulder pops up. And instead of turning my hand like a cross, I pop my fist this way. So here. Never allowing myself to go here and back. Here and back is not good. When I have to come back, I have to come back to my center, back to my balance position. I want to stay in my balance position. I want to be able to do an extension punch, and if whatever reason I need to, I can always cross. But if I'm on the heel of off the heel of my foot, I can't cross here. It's going to be weak. I have to come back and then pivot and cross. So be aware when you're striking what your feet are doing. That's for the extension punch, and you're seeing how it kind of relates to Kung Fu. I have to have this ability. Extension punch, pivot cross. This is a left cross, not a right cross. That's why I think San Soo is sometimes a little bit more dangerous, because we don't prefer one side over the other. Where a boxer does, for the majority of them, they pick one side. I know a lot of boxers and MMA fighters that are very good at going left hand, right hand, and switching stances. Those guys, to me, are very proficient, very dangerous, and I really have to respect them because they don't become a one-sided fighter. So I'm not going to get into that.